courage to do, the courage to envision, the courage to fight, the courage to work, the courage to achieve the highest excellence, unquote. Madam Chair, it is with great honor that we present the budget speech for the 2023-24 fiscal year, buoyed by the exceptional performance of the matric class of 2022. We are humbled by the accolades bestowed upon the collective that was responsible for ensuring that KwaZulu-Natal was positioned among the galaxy of academic stars as one of the three best performing provinces in South Africa. Soon after the result of the 2022 National Senior Certificate Examination were announced, we were mindful of the fact that our operation had to be short-lived. This was due to the relation that these results a higher bar for us, and there was a growing expectation for us to surpass our previous achievements and never falter. The words of the founding father, I quote, after one finds that there are many more hills to climb, unquote. Indeed, Madam Chair, as an ANC-led government, we have successfully, as a great and challenging observed the higher we climb, our learners that there is still much work to be done. However, we know that no challenge is insurmountable, and we are steadfast and encouraged by the task ahead. Madam Chair, the 2022-23 academic year was undoubtedly one of the most periods for KwaZulu-Natal Department of Education. In addition to the ongoing pandemic, our schools were severely impacted of destruction across the province last year. Academic activities were by the floods, thus severely affected. Companies faced by our education. As the department continues to be haunted by the budgets due to carryover of the budget implemented of 2021-2020 term expenditure framework against the compensation of employees for the cost of living wage freeze, as well as the budget cuts that reduce the headcount on it. This has the department with an underfunded post-provisioning norm and compelled us to cut to the bone. Currently, the approved structure is underfunded by 151 posts. To mitigate the impact of this budget constraint, we have implemented various measures, including non-filling of critical office-based posts, installing of boreholes, and the utilization of surplus education to fill back in school. The department has also been aggressive implementing an ICT strategy to improve its efficiencies through the use of virtual meetings, online submissions, as well as shortened turnaround time to process appointments and terminations. However, Chairperson, it must be emphasized that the savings achieved thus far are insufficient to cover the shortfall resulting from the budget cuts. Honorable members, the education landscape in our province can be best described by the words of a Nigerian poet and novelist, Ben Okri, who once wrote, I quote him, "The most authentic thing about us is our capacity to create, to overcome, to endure, to transform, to love, and to be greater than our sufferings," unquote. Despite the challenges that plagued our schools as the province at large in 2022, as the biggest education system in the country, we triumphed. Through our collective resilience, we achieved a remarkable 83% in the matric class of 2022. This represents a significant 6.2 improvement from the previous year. What's more, the quality of our passes also improved substantially, with 69,000 bachelor's pass recorded in 2022 compared to 61 in 2021. This is a testament to the hard work and dedication of our learners and educators, as well as the support of the honorable members, parents, social partners, and other stakeholders. Chair, the number of our schools that obtained the 100% rate also increased from 145 in 2021 to 212 in 2022. Honorable members, as the department, we are also proud to report that no school in the province obtained a 0% pass rate. KZN has much to celebrate, as 11 out of 12 districts were also able to reach an 80% pass rate, a target which was set by the provincial government. Honorable members, we are pleased to report to this esteemed House that construction of the following state-of-the-art schools has been concluded. Sikhuluma ngeDandi Junior Secondary School, Xolo Senior Primary School, Mkai Primary School, and Phumanyova Technical Schools. Lezi ikole zonke ziphelile njengoba ngilapha phambi kwenu. Bahlonishwa, the identified 1,377 schools that had pit latrines. 1,120 of these schools have been eradicated of pit latrines, while the remaining schools are at various stages of construction. Madam Speaker, the distribution of learner-teacher support materials for school that undertake procurement through the department was done with 100% of stationery and 99.3% of textbook delivered by the beginning of the 2023 year. Honorable members, the NDP Vision 2030 further directs that, I quote it, by 2030, South Africans should have access to education and training of the highest quality, leading to significantly improved learners' outcome, unquote. In this regard, the department's strategic plan are aligned with the priorities of the ANC-led government at both the national and provincial levels. As the Honorable Premier said in the State of the Province address in February, I quote, "Our focus now is on improving the quality of education and preparing learners for the future world of work and industries where no one is left behind," unquote. Madam Chair, due to the budget cuts made in previous budget processes, further reprioritization towards the funding gap that already exists in the province could not be undertaken. Therefore, no-fee schools will continue to be funded at 955 per learner in 2023-24, while the recommended national funding norm is 1,600 per learner for quintile 1 to 3. The fee-paying schools in quintile 4 and 5 are funded at 522 and 179 per learner, compared to the recommended national norm of 803 and 279 respectively. A shortfall of 1.4 billion exists in order to address the funding gap and to meet the national targets. The department will continue to implement the recommendations from the Department of Basic Education. Madam Chair, the department has undertaken a strengthening of the provincial academic improvement plan in order to tailor it to unique educational demands of the 2023 academic year and to equip our learners with skills and knowledge needed to exploit lifelong learning opportunities. Madam Chair, with the support of the honorable members of this esteemed House and all our educational stakeholders, the Provincial Academic Improvement Plan 2023 aims to increase the national senior pass rate to 100% with a minimum of 85% in 2023. Increase the number of schools which achieve 100% pass rate by 5% from 212 to 223. Increase the bachelor passes by 5% from 42.5 to 47.5. To eliminate schools that perform at 40% and below. To improve performance of learners with special education needs. To improve the pass percentage and distinctions in mathematics and sciences. And also to improve the pass percentage in technology and technical subjects. The concerning trend, Madam Chair, in learner performance in the country has showed that the national average in learner performance for mathematics remains below 60%. Another worrying factor is the observation of the learners snapping mathematics in favor of the mathematical literacy. As part of our efforts to address this challenge, the Department of Education has declared 2023 as the year of mathematics. This requires all provinces to break through the 60% ceiling in terms of mathematics performance. Over the past 5 years, the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Education has observed a range in grade 12 mathematics performance, spanning from 50.6% to 54.6%. Additionally, the province is currently facing a decline in learner participating within the subject. In 2022, the percentage of students enrolled in mathematics as opposed to mathematical literacy was only 38%. In furtherance of this object, the department convened a highly successful 3-day Maths Summit last week. At this gathering, various stakeholders, including academics and educators, collaborated to formulate an integrated strategy aimed at enhancing the province's performance in mathematics and our learners, and also reuniting our learners' passion for the subject. Madam Chair, on coding and robotics pilot projects, Marxist revolutionary and Pan-Africanist who served as president of Burkina Faso, Thomas Sankara, once remarked, I quote, "You cannot carry out fundamental change without a certain amount of madness. In this case, it comes from non-conformity, the courage to turn your back on the old formulas, the courage to invent the future," unquote. In the academic year, KwaZulu-Natal have 260 schools from 6 districts piloting the new coding and robotics subjects in the foundation phase, intermediate phase, and in grade 7 and 8. At least 6,000 intermediate phase and grade 8 educators will be orientated on the coding and robotics. Over and above orientation, the teachers will also require 160 hours of content training through higher education institutions. On teacher provisioning, development and support, the supply of qualified educators into the system remains a challenge, particularly in subjects like mathematics, physical science, technical mathematics, technical sciences, engineering, graphic design, and braille. In addition to the provision of bursaries to attract young people into teaching, the department will be engaging the Department of Higher Education and Training with a view to encourage more young people to register for mathematics and science qualifications. The MTEF also provides for the training and development in terms of the structured training in teaching methodologies and subject content for the esteemed 3,600 educators and subject advisors in mathematics, physical science, computer applications, and technology subjects, as well as the purchase of ICT equipment such as computer hardware and software. On public schools, public special schools education, Madam Chair, the provision of quality and accessible public special schools education remains one of the top priorities for the department. We have allocated 1.6 billion to this program. The funds allocated over the MTEF include the Learners with Profound Intellectual Disabilities Grant, which seeks to assist the inclusive education for learners with intellectual disabilities in care centers and public special schools. Additionally, the budget caters for transfer to special schools for the purchase of LTSM resources and the procurement of the specialized equipment, assistive devices and support materials for support care centers, as well as operational costs. The program also provides for the purchase of the buses in 2023-24 for transporting disabled learners in special schools in line with the learner transport policy. The department also commends the procurement of the 10 new buses for special schools. We will also be filling the post for support staff such as drivers, hostel mothers, cleaners, where we will be utilizing an amount of 10 million set aside for job creation. Indeed, Madam Chair, as Kwame Nkrumah once remarked, I quote, "Those who would judge us merely by the heights we have achieved would do well to remember the depth from which we started," unquote. As announced by the Honorable Premier on online registration during the State of the Province address, KwaZulu-Natal is gearing up the pilot online learner admission system. The pilot will be rolled out in a few districts in order to test its efficiency in addressing the long queues at the start of every academic year. On digital migration, Honorable Chair, with the fourth industrial revolution taking center stage, the department is also capacitating its staff to perform efficiently and optimally. 3,200 laptops as well as 558 desktop has been procured as tools of trade. This will help improve service delivery and the efficiency of the system. Bahlonishwa 64 schools have also been provided with school-based connectivity worth 219 million. All learners and educators in these schools have full school Wi-Fi access and interactive smart screens. Additionally, 1,840 laptops have been provided for educators, including principals, in the 64 schools. On early childhood development, the honorable members, the capacitation of our early childhood development centers is ongoing. We have allocated 2 billion to this program. It is anticipated that 1,000 practitioners will be trained on the national curriculum framework for birth to 4-year-olds in 2023-2024. Madam Speaker, the contract for 6,041 COVID-19 screeners that were appointed during the height of the coronavirus pandemic ended on the 31st of March 2023. These screeners came at a cost of 245 million, and these funds have now been redirected in improving the conditions of service of our early childhood development practitioners. To this end, the process of converting them from being paid a stipend to salaries is underway. The department has commenced with the process of converting the first batch of 500 grade R educators to be permanent. The balance of 12.5 million will be utilized in improving the stipend of grade R practitioners. Siyaqhuba bantu. Consistent with our objective of creating a conducive and safe environment for teaching and learning to efficiently take place, the department continues to implement various education infrastructure programs across KwaZulu-Natal. We have allocated 3.2 billion for infrastructure development. As per the commitment made in 2022-2023, KwaZulu-Natal Department of Education's budget policy, the construction of the state-of-the-art maritime school of excellence in Umlazi district has commenced. This school will provide learners with education and opportunities in the maritime in the marine economy. The department is currently in the process of procuring the ICT School of Excellence in Amajuba district. This will be KwaZulu-Natal's fourth focus school, and it will equip our learners with the necessary digital skills and exposure to the 4IR, which is the next frontier of economic development. Honorable Chair, we further undertake to deal with all key infrastructure projects that we could not finish in the previous financial year, but have progressed in implementation and will be delivered in 2023-2024 financial year. These projects, Honorable Chairperson, include Solomon Mahlangu Primary School, JG Zuma Secondary, as well as Inkosi Mgwazeni Secondary. Madam Speaker, Madam Chair, the construction of 9 schools will be implemented during 2023-2024 financial year. They include Menzi Secondary in Umlazi, Wanyamazane Primary in Umkhanyakude, Putini Secondary in Uthukela District, and Siyakhanyisa Primary in King Cetshwayo, Skandi Ikol. In the 2023-24 financial year, construction will also commence on several other projects. They include an extensive upgrade of Ohlange Secondary, honorable members, which is a school that was founded by the first president of the African National Congress, Dr. John Langalibalele Dube, Umafukuzela uNjengezulu. Moreover, as part of job creation in the construction sector, the department will be employing youth, women, and other persons from vulnerable groups for the maintenance of about 200 schools across the province. This work will include painting as well as fixing doors and windows. On inclusive education, honorable members, ensuring the provision of conducive and safe learning environment for learners with special education needs remains a priority to this African National Government-led, ANC-led government, as these are amongst the most vulnerable learners in our communities. The completion and delivery of Inanda Special School in Umlazi is reported as one of the department's significant achievements. The department will continue to closely monitor the construction of the Tongati Special School in Pinetown and YWCA Special School in Amajuba and ensure that they are completed in the 2023-2024 financial year. The construction of the state-of-the-art Musa Special School in Nongoma is already underway. The department is also forging ahead with the finalization of pre-contract documentation for the construction of the Zamimpilo Special School and Bawelise Special School in Zululand. Construction will commence in the 2023-2024 financial year. The department has further prioritized the implementation of Inkosi Tatezake Special School in Umzinyathi district. On boarding facilities, Somlomo Hloniphekile, now is Lalo, the session, the department has prioritized the 5 schools to have their boarding facilities upgraded. Ivukuzakhe High School and Reunion Special School in Umlazi District, Umthwalume High School in Ugu District, Pronobis Special School in Umzinyathi, and Sukuma Comprehensive School in Umgungundlovu District. On the dignity of learners, in support of the department's responsibility of ensuring that basic services are available at school, the department continues to roll out the borehole program. The installation of boreholes in 277 schools is at the planning stage and earmarked for the site handover to contractors during the first quarter. The eradication of asbestos in schools is also rolled out in an attempt to remove the unsafe and hazardous material, which is predominantly roofs in the schools in KwaZulu-Natal. The province continues to experience devastating effects of climate change. The floods experienced in 2022 damaged education infrastructure in 356 schools. The rehabilitation and repairs have been completed on 148 schools. 16 schools are on construction stage, 172 schools are on tender stage, and 20 schools are on design documentation stage. It must be noted that the 2023-24 Education Infrastructure Grant of 2.9 includes 269 million to cover the carry-through cost of repairing and rehabilitating the schools damaged in April 22 floods. On extra curricular education, Madam Chair, the Department of Education agrees with the views on sports expressed by the Secretary General of the African National Congress and former Minister of Sports and Recreation, Comrade Fikile Mbalula. In his statement, he characterized school sports as the cornerstone of our entire sports development continuum. He further emphasized the critical role played by grassroots development, which is primarily delivered through our schools, in fostering meaningful and sustainable development. Subsequent to the signing of the Memorandum of Agreement with the KwaZulu Department of Sports, KwaZulu-Natal Department of Sports, Arts and Culture last year, we remain resolute in our endeavor to revitalize school sports and create arts programs across the province. Our primary objective is to provide a platform for our learners to exhibit their talents and enable them to realize their full potential in these areas. Accordingly, all our schools have been directed to implement Dlala Thursdays in their timetables where time is allocated for sports and creative arts activities. The exemplary display of talent exhibited by our very own Edendale Technical High School soccer team serves as a testament to the passion of our learners possess for sport. In the past year, this has achieved a string of notable victories, including securing a second consecutive triumph at the National African Schools Championship. Most recently, they represented South Africa at the CAF Africa Schools Football Championship held